Nachi free.
I just want to say, can we all get along? Can we get along?
I think we can, Rodney. In honor of your memory, I'd like to dedicate this video. However, I'm not going to revisit the 1992 Los Angeles riots, or much less the violent beatdown of this man and the ensuing acquittal of the police officers. But from what I do remember back then, when Rodney King came out and said, "Can we all get along?" on national TV, so many people ridiculed him for that. I remember comedy skits and radio shows, people just tearing him down for saying that as if it was a joke. And in my opinion, that very question, "Can we all get along?" made so much sense to me. I didn't understand what was so funny about that. Why can't we all just get along? I think I know why, and I would wager to say that it's all about securing our survival on this planet and how the media and certain politicians exploit that need for their own selfish gain. This election year has clearly brought out the worst in many people. I know that right now the biggest news story is about FBI Director James Comey explaining that there's newfound evidence to be investigated regarding Hillary's email scandal because of what's been found on Uma Abedin's computer less than 2 weeks before Election Day, since her ex-husband Anthony Weiner is under investigation for sexting pictures of his wiener to a 15-year-old girl with his own child by his side. But I think the dangerous division that continues to split our society like a festering wound that just won't seem to heal no matter how many band-aids we put on it, it's even more important than all this distractingly fleeting political gossip. And of all the violent outbreaks at political rallies and protests that have been captured on video this year, I think the saddest example is this one. Not so much the guy that tore up the Donald Trump star on Hollywood. No, I'm talking about the homeless woman who tried to guard the star afterwards, and the people who couldn't see past the fact that she's probably mentally ill, and they still pushed her around. Instead of ignoring her or feeling any sort of compassion or empathy, no. Truly disgusting behavior by people who undoubtedly think they're morally superior, but they can't see past their own ignorance. I'm no Trump supporter because my inner panic button will not allow me to vote for this vulgarian, but shame on all of you who did that. And yet, I don't want to add to the divide. It's so sad how some people, fortunately not everyone, but some people cannot see past their own selfish needs and political biases. Yet it's not for nothing why we have Democrats and Republicans. Over in merry old England, they have a similar divide between the Labour Party versus the Tories. And throughout the rest of the world, it basically breaks down into liberals and conservatives, and the left versus the right. And the terms left and right actually stem from the French Revolution in 1789. Where members of the National Assembly were divided by the aristocrats and the supporters of King Louis XVI, who sat to the right of the President of the Assembly, and the commoners and supporters of the Revolution, who sat to the left. But there was also a middle too, who were seen as the centrists. And I think that's where the majority of people are. Almost everyone is a little conservative for certain issues and a little liberal for other issues. Because conservatism and liberalism are really manifestations of our paternal and maternal instincts. And in this election year, those instincts have materialized on a national level in the form of the ultimate sugar daddy, Donald Trump, and the ultimate evil stepmommy, Hillary Clinton. But like I said, anyone who is honest with themselves will admit that they're a little liberal and a little conservative from time to time. For example, I'm a liberal when it comes to social issues like gay marriage, abortion, the legalization of marijuana, which is why I'm voting yes on Amendment 2 down here in Florida. And I'm especially liberal when it comes to even more controversial issues like legalizing prostitution and even euthanasia, the right to die. Speaking of death, that's where I'm a little conservative since I support the death penalty too. But along my conservative lines, I'm very, very conservative when it comes to my personal finances and the national economy. And the older I get, even though I no longer believe in God, I actually agree with certain religious values. Not to be confused with the supernatural or superstitious bullshit beliefs. No, the values, such as the need for family and law and order. Now, I don't want to get too preachy, but I believe, actually, I know we can all get along if more people realized and accepted that there are certain issues that do have correct and incorrect solutions. As much as I believe in centrism at times, there are objective realities that have only one answer. 2 + 2 can only equal 4. That's because numbers never lie, unlike career politicians, like this one. Here's another indisputable fact: the world is round. That centuries-long debate has been settled for centuries. Unless you're an indigenous tribesman living in the Amazon, there is no excuse for entertaining the idea that the world is flat. And there's no point in trying to find common ground on that issue. Why can't the world be flat and round? Why can't we reach consensus that the world is oblong? Because it's not. And yet that's the thing. If you didn't know that the world was round, you would swear that it was flat. And that's because reality is counterintuitive to our limited senses and perception. And if more people understood that and accepted certain crucial realities when it comes to socioeconomic and geopolitical issues, we wouldn't be arguing so much, let alone killing each other. For example, if more people took the time to understand basic economics, we could all get along so much better. And I'm not talking about getting a college degree in the subject. I'm talking about the first few pages of chapter 1 of any economics textbook. If more people understood that energy, resources, time, and space are limited on this planet, and the best way to deal with that scarcity and turn it into surpluses is through a capitalist system that honors property rights and a free market, nobody would be entertaining socialism as an option, and much less Marxism. Ugh. And candidates like Bernie Sanders would not have a career. That economically misguided Fidel Castro excusing $600,000 summer home owning champagne socialist wouldn't even be in the Senate to begin with, because more people would see through his bullshit. And his bullshit has led to a lot of divide and violence in this election year. For all the talk of Donald Trump instigating violence at his rallies, what many mainstream news outlets didn't report were how Bernie Sanders supporters, particularly those with their little MoveOn.org signs, those supporters were just as responsible for instigating violence. And shame, shame, shame on any and all of you Bernie apologists in the media who covered that up. However, I'm not going to allow my disgust for you 7-figure salary earning self-righteous cunts to turn into anger that adds to the fuel of divide in this country. I don't want to be part of that. That's not why I make these videos. I don't want to spread hate and much less divide. But I want to call you people out. You recklessly misleading, misinforming journalists need to be exposed for the false narratives that you push every night on our television and computer screens like a bunch of corporate lackey puppets.
Oh, Governor, what is your problem with puppets?
Lefty, I got no problem with you, okay? But these people need to be called out for the dangerous divide that they continue to wedge in our society.
Oh, get over yourself, you pontificating fool. You are hardly an expert on matters of the media, no matter how much of it you may consume.
Look, I don't need to be an expert in the media in order to call these people out for their obvious bullshit, bro.
I am not your sibling. Don't listen to this man. He's a charlatan. Cheerio.
Look, I'm going to give you people the benefit of the doubt. You do provide an important service to society, namely information. You just don't provide all of it. You omit, you obfuscate, and at times you outright lie.
Also interesting is, remember, it's illegal to possess these stolen documents. It's different for the media. So everything you learn about this, you're learning from us.
That's why so many of us find each other at our throats and needlessly assuming that one demographic is out to get the other. We all can get along, no matter who you end up voting for on November 8th.
Don't go Bodiak.
Oh, that's right. Thanks for watching.
Homegrown.